Hello everyone, and now welcome to a game Inspired versus NightEnD. This game taking place here on Autumn Leaves version 2.0. Inspired has spawned as the teal human player on the top right hand side of the map. Meanwhile, NightEnD has spawned as the purple Undead. I'm going to be, fast forwarding to the 2-minute mark of this particular video. As this game does get underway. Human versus Undead promises to be a good matchup, as it is a classic Archmage versus a Death Knight. Now, I am expecting some early creeping, some harass, and Autumn Leaves is a map that's known for a lot of expansions. Good morning, I'm at work at the moment, so I can't listen, only watch. Well, I'm glad I'm giving you some sort of distraction, even though you can't hear me at all. Maybe at some point you will maybe at some point you'll actually watch the video and get to hear my lovely, lovely commentary. Anyways, let's go ahead and break things down in this matchup. Ogre Magi going to get taken down here on the south side. Meanwhile, Death Knight going after the creep camp here quickly picks up Claws of Attack +4. Do not be confused by the +5, even though I sometimes do. Coming back around here, are we going to be looking at an expansion? That is the key here, as Inspired gets an unfortunate additional ensnare on that footman there. Alright, that additional ensnared footman does slow down his creeping, as we see Inspired purposely rotate the expansion a little bit here, or the peasants here, so that they're not going to be easily death coiled or hunted down by ghouls. Now, we see the Death Knight already making its way over. Low hit point footman coming back across here. And are the militia going to be joining in on the battle? There's a death coil onto a footman. Footman going to get denied. Beautifully done by Inspired here, as the scout tower is trying to get constructed, perhaps repaired, as more militia now being called over. NightEnD actually getting body blocked into this corner here. And, well, with the range units, going to be much easier for Inspired to actually deal more damage. Death Knight going to end up forcing a Scroll of Town Portal. Skeletal minions going to get cleaned up here. There goes one, there goes two, and now level 2 on the Archmage. Inspired with some really, clean, inspired play there, capturing that Death Knight behind and capitalizing on a little bit of a misplay here. NightEnD, ended up trapping himself into a corner, and by doing exactly that, it's not all the times that your opponent capitalizes on your mistake, but Inspired really hit that one out of the park, able to force the Scroll of Town Portal on that Death Knight, and also force that Death Knight to try and, stay on his side of the map just for a little bit, since he was so low on hit points. Death Knight even has, some questions or reservations about trying to catch up to that footman, as that footman could have easily disrupted the healing here, as we now see an arcane tower attack. There's that arcane tower disrupting that healing, as we could be dropping additional water elementals as well. That water elemental is new. We're going to be looking at some of those peasants trying to hide inside that gold mine. The arcane tower needs to, feed back more of that Death Knight, as we're looking at the arcane towers now taking down some of those skeletal minions. Alright, there goes another one right there, but a handful of ghouls will get taken out as well. Water elemental trying to get in front here. Are we going to get some body blocks? There goes one ghoul. Another ghoul could end up getting taken down. 1 or 2 more shots. No, it looks like it will be able to get away, as the Death Knight is going to apply. Oh, is that militia going to be able to... We're trying to run around the corner, but no, the ghoul able to squeak out in front and stay alive. Some early action on both sides here. Death Knight now down to 100 and, down to sub 85 hit points. This footman is going to try and get in harm's way, try to, try to make it so that the Archmage not going to be able to catch up, even with boots of speed, though, able to close in on that distance. Death Knight has been playing a very dangerous game, trying to stay alive as long as possible here. Oh, that Dark Ritual dagger does not get one of the ghouls for NightEnD. He'll have to stay on Blight a little while longer. Good day, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. 4 people on the stream, and it seems like everyone joining in and talking. Always nice to see an interactive crowd here on Twitch. Dual Gloves of Haste now on that Archmage. Just a fast attack speed there. Not yet quite fast. It does feel significantly faster, especially with that Archmage's Boots of Speed, able to down that unit quickly. Staff of Teleportation still there. We do see the Lich already out on the battlefield. No tech to tier 2 yet. So Inspire just using the economic advantage as a low hit point ghoul down to 75 hit points could end up getting cleaned up here. Archmage does have a has that dual Gloves of Haste Water Elemental trying to get in some of that damage here. And will it be enough to actually cause a little bit of disruption? All right, taking down ghouls while your opponent is taking the tier 2, not necessarily that big of a setback. Unlike taking down peasants while your opponent is trying to tech the tier 2 because of, well, how ghouls are trained off of that crypt. A little bit of an advantage there as we're looking at more damage getting added on in once again. More footmen are getting taken down, but acolytes are being lost as well as we're seeing more and more ghouls getting knocked apart here. All right, we're going to see another shot there. There goes another one as well. That water elemental will get taken down as more damage is getting racked on up. Lich down to 163 hit points. Death Knight does not have enough mana. Is he going to be able to save that Lich? No, he is not. Lich ends up falling as well, drops another water elemental, and perhaps this low hit point footman may not be able to make it back out. All right, that low hit point footman right there. Last one left behind quickly gets eaten up by a death coil. We are getting up the blacksmith. The arcane vault is now completed. We are getting up some additional towers as well. No masonry upgrade, and the tech to tier 2 has started. Inspired playing a classic old school human with multiple towers at the expo and perhaps some towers at the main base as well. No crazy level 3 masonry upgrades though, as those masonry upgrades were significantly changed in years past. Now, as both of these players are trying to get into position, NightEnD needs to get that Lich back out on the battlefield, and with the help of that Orb of Corruption, can build a strong army that can focus fire down units. You guys have all seen this in the past. The Lich getting in one attack onto a unit there, the following focused fire, and then maybe even some burst damage from the Death Knight's Death Coil and the Lich's Frost Nova is more than enough to easily finish off a low hit point unit. Now, Inspired instead just going to continue to force NightEnD to try and train up ghoul after ghoul after ghoul. Going after acolytes, is important as we're looking at some damage onto that Archmage. Archmage now dangerously low, down to 242 already, but this exchange wasn't necessarily that helpful. A couple of acolytes are going to be lost here. More acolytes could try and back away. Death Knight could get a death coil off, but at this point and stage in the game, NightEnD is pretty much saying thank you for the experience. My Lich and my Death Knight are going to be benefiting quite well. Right, getting in some easy experience on these footmen now. I guess if you want to look at this with a bit of a silver lining, losing all of these tier 1 footmen now when your opponents heroes are level 1 is the perfect time to do it. You don't want to do it when your opponents are level 2 or level 3, as your opponents probably want to try and gain experience from the creep camps while they're at lower levels, since there isn't that degradation on experience when higher level units. How can I explain this? As you creep, the amount of experience you get from creeps gradually goes down. The higher your level, the less experience, the less flat base experience you get from creeps. However, your opponent's units will always give the full amount. Therefore, if you gotta lose low tier units early on, do it when your opponent's heroes are lower in level. Otherwise, you might actually push them into higher levels later on. Archmage. Now, Archmage going to be joined by the Mountain King. However, there's just a little bit too much killing by NightEnD here. Water Elemental easily going to get finished off. Lich now sitting at level 2, and with these dual Obsidian statues, well, Undead looking very strong. 3 heroes versus 1. Is he hoping for mass teleport to save him? No, the slower tech to tier 2 and then eventual tier 3 because of the fast expo meant that the Archmage needed to be alone. It was by choice, and like many of you guys know, when you make choices, there are foreseeable good things and foreseeable bad things. consequences for every choice you make, right? Kind of goes along the lines the saying of there's nothing there's nothing um, there's n- there's nothing called a free lunch because of the opportunity cost or what you have to give up in order to get that free lunch. So that expo giving you additional gold early on meant that that Mountain King was going to be delayed. That second and third hero, the eventual paladin that should be joining on this fight, are significantly delayed, as there is a hero level advantage now for Undead, who is currently sitting at 4-2-2 compared to Inspired's 4-1. Thank you for the thank you for giving me something to talk about and play off of. That's one of the reasons why I enjoy casting on Twitch. Sometimes you guys have noticed things that I miss or have some good questions. So just good overall there. Mountain King does have a Wand of Mana dealing. Staff of Sanctuary takes that Mountain King back home. And some early Staff of Sanctuaries, and as they build up over time, could have a profound effect. Inspired is going to run off of dual barracks here. It has to be careful about building this farm and might accidentally trap in units, as we should be looking at animal war training and additional upgrades getting down. We are looking at tier 2 for armor upgrades for the guard towers, or masonry upgrades, excuse me, as that arcane tower quickly gets finishes off that skeletal minion. All right, going into siege engines, training up additional farms, training up additional knights as well. So knights, flying machines, just trying to make it so that Death Coil Frost Nova isn't as deadly. Well, we all know Death Coil Frost Nova only work against biological units, but that does mean that the Archmage and the heroes are going to be the main priority targets of all that's going down here. There's a Holy Light to save the Mountain King right before the teleportation, but NightEnD now continuing to clear out these creep camps, getting up to level 3. And that is a major shot there. Mountain King going to perhaps try and show up. There's a Stormbolt. There's a Death Coil Frost Nova exchange as the Lich may try and get another Frost Nova onto that Mountain King. There's a Cyclone onto the Paladin as we get a surround onto the Death Knight. Death Knight now completely surrounded. Mountain King may try to go for a Stormbolt. There's a Stormbolt onto the Death Knight there. Are we going to see a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability transferred? It is not transferred over, and the Death Knight falls at level 4. Lich may end up getting bolted down here, and without enough mana, he is going to get taken down as well, giving level 2 to the Mountain King. A major misstep by NightEnD, giving the level 4 Death Knight and the level 3 Lich, and this is a drastic change of events. That Mountain King getting baited or baiting out a couple of Death Coil Frost Novas, and then with the cooldown in position, that Mountain King, long distance storm bolting down a couple of units here, as we could look at another, Stormbolt down a ghoul here. No, absolutely no bias. I just wanted to be right in my prediction that there was going to be a Stormbolt. And remember, this version of Autumn Leaves 2.0, there is actually a lake from right behind here, so you can no longer flame strike or try and clear out these trees in order to get to that haunted gold mine. Coming back around, Mountain King is going to Stormbolt. Yes, another ghoul picking off units one at a time. The Expo off to the north wants to be protected. There's a Knight here in position as well, as we are going to be running up on a 3-base human who still has 6 minutes of mining left here. All right, dual Goblin Zeppelins, or dual siege engines in the Goblin Zeppelin. Are we going to try and drop into position here? That seems to be the case now. Here we are. Here we go. Going straight after that Spirit Tower. Spirit Tower taking quite a bit of damage already. And now what's going to end up happening? Scroll of Town Portal inbound. All the undead heroes were resurrected. And here we are. Here we go. Mountain King trying to, get in a bash there. There's a Holy Light siege engine is still continuing to put pressure off on that side. But the Acolytes, with more than enough repair action, able to keep these siege engines from taking down this Spirit Tower. No weapon upgrades on the, no weapon upgrades yet. Inspired now getting those weapon upgrades while clearing out the Granite Golem here at this 3 o'clock spot. All right, trying to use his time wisely. This is the key. If you know that your opponent is in a certain spot, you can perhaps buy yourself some time. And Undead looking, I'm going to scout some skeletal minions here on the far side, not knowing that the Granite Golem is currently getting cleared out. That this creep camp will be lost, but the powerful item from this Granite Golem will be picked up by Inspired. It looks like it went onto that Paladin. It is going to be a Helm of Valor, Strength, and Agility, making it, well, that much more difficult to try and finish things off. Paladin does use a Divine Shield right there. Mountain King could try and Stormbolt. Does Stormbolt the Death Knight. We could see a Staff of Sanctuary now on that Mountain King. Mountain King could have a little bit of problem. There's a Scroll of Town Portal and to whisk everyone away. All right. Getting into better position. Level 1 weapon upgrades on those siege engines done. Inspired starting to build up quite a bit of a bank of gold to spend it. And, well, to spend it when he really wants to. All right, trying to avoid or tax evasion at its best. The company building up a large surplus of gold and then will be spending it the moment it needs to. All right, mortar teams. An interesting choice by the mortar teams now out here on the battlefield, as mortar teams are easily picked off by the Death Knight and the Lich when they're both at level 3 or higher. Death Coil, Frost Nova, and some major damage onto those backline units. And as well as the only long distance siege unit able to be targeted by Death Coil and Frost Nova, that costs and still costing a decent amount of supply 3, it often ends up feeding experience to the undead heroes who, well, really want to get to level 5 to counter the Banshees. Maybe, well, countering the Banshees is going to be key, as those Banshees with Possession, anti-magic shell can do a lot. Are we going to see a Staff of Sanctuary on that Knight? Yes, we are. Now already healing back up. Death Coil on another Knight, though. Only one? No, there's 2 Staff of Sanctuaries. Paladin perhaps didn't realize that Death Coil was making its way over. All right. Here's the problem. When you're running away with mortar teams and knights, the knights end up being in the wrong spot. Mortar teams now need to get back here. The Banshees may cause a number of possessions. Are we going to see some more lobbying attacks there? There goes a possession there. Scroll of Town Portal not in time, as 2 knights turn color. Now down to 880 or 885 hit points. Wow, no Animal War training yet. So Inspired, after all this time, still has not gotten Animal War training. And that was 3 knights taken by NightEnD. So NightEnD, well, taking a big chunk out of the human army, now down to 74 supply over 90. And this is after training up these knights as well, and now trying to get up more mortar teams. Happy Monday. All right. I almost feel like flying machines with Bombard might actually be the better way to try and go to take down those Banshees if your opponent doesn't have Carrion Swarm or Breath of Fire. Just go the mechanical route. Make it so that Death Coil, Frost Nova doesn't really hurt you, as we're looking at the engagement now. All right, in comes the human army. All right, perhaps the knights, some of the knights getting spotted out here. Are we going to see a little bit of damage? Mountain King does have level 2 Thunderclap. Where is that Thunderclap? He's in the midst of all of these units. Scroll of Town Portal there, and there's some Holy Light trying to finish off some of these units again. Thunderclap finally used, but not quite sure why it took as long as it did, as the Scroll of Town Portal took them all the way back home. 74 supply compared to 78. Couple of knights are, well, a couple of Knights of Inspired are healing up. This one perhaps just not in the right control group and not joining in on the battle. We do see level 3 Masonry upgrades. So, well, full 8 armor, 650 hit point towers. It's going to be difficult to dive on into those spots. And we are looking at triple Staff of Sanctuaries. Those Staff of Sanctuaries should be key in trying to protect your knights. If you're able to protect your knights, by taking them out of that possession there. Normally the Banshees are not able to try and possess again. Here we go, going into the fight here. Mortar teams were able to clear out one of those towers here as we are looking at some Banshees trying to make their way through, actually getting caught in transit here. Both sides fighting again. There's another Thunderclap. There's a, Holy Light Death Coil going back and forth. Mountain King currently silenced. There's a Staff of Sanctuary bringing him back out as more damage. There goes another Knight again. 72 supply compared to 80. Mortar teams are going to be able to lob their way onto the Spirit Tower here and like take down these buildings. There is fragmentation shards as well, so these acolytes are not going to be able to stick around in this fight for very long, as the mortar teams do gain experience from taking down these towers. All right, Knight's going to get into position. One lead rifleman going to get bursted down, gets a big heal though, and still able to stick around in this battle here. While the mortar teams are lobbing attacks with their superior range, they're going to be in a great spot. Fly machines are acting as spotters, so that's going to be enough to perhaps stop this haunted gold mine, as gold is just constantly getting funneled out to try and keep this one haunted gold mine up. All right, are we going to see the Death Coil Frost Novas? No, we are not. Goblin Shredder joining in on the battle. Knights are, ghouls are off to the side here. Mountain King needs to get in a Thunderclap once he joins back in on the fight. I think he's back at home, making his way down in from that corner here. All right, Scout Towers do have Cannon Towers getting added in from the side here. Mountain King perhaps going to try to dive on in. There's a massive Thunderclap across all of those, as we are looking at major damage just getting added up here. Knights trying to switch, or plenty of purple Knights here, but they are getting slowed down by all of that Thunderclap there, as we're looking at a couple of flares to try and reveal any hidden units there. I believe the Paladin or Mountain King gets taken down right there at level 3. Paladin unable to get enough Holy Lights off, as both sides are still fighting their way through. All right, additional Scout Towers are getting placed down here. Knights are still funneling in from the north. Still plenty of gold as the Mountain King rejoins in on the fight here, quickly using a Potion of Mana to get back up to, Stormbolt range. All he needed was the stun in order to take down that Knight. And now Mountain King going to retreat back here. No easy heals whatsoever. We could be seeing a rotation of Staff of Sanctuary to try and keep all of the units alive and well. Mountain King continuing to get some healing light here, as the Mountain King up to 196 mana, and with guard towers here trying to get some cannon towers as well. Knights continuing to lead the charge once again. Mortar teams can lob in attacks, but the distance still trying to keep them at bay. 2 bases versus 2 bases now, as both sides' main gold mines have come to an end. Additional Scout Towers look like they're going to get cleaned up. Paladin was resurrected, ready to go, as the Paladin is able to use some Clarity Potions and perhaps heal up a bit more as well. All right, where are the additional mortar teams? They need to use that superior range, as that haunted gold mine here is now getting attacked by able to attack and take down some of these acolytes in position now. What is this? One flying machine just hanging off to the side. Battle in the center portion of the map. Both sides getting into position. Disease Cloud now causing a bit of problems, as the biological units able to take some poison damage, or this Disease Cloud damage, which I believe is about 2 damage a second. The meat wagons now have multiple targets to try and hit, because they want to be able to take down all of these towers as well. Are the mortar teams going to be able to perhaps take down that meat wagon? That is a big question there, as we're looking at Death Coil, Frost Nova, Staff of Sanctuary on a low hit point mortar team, teleported back in time. All right, 80 supply over compared to 76, and you can see that Disease Cloud just slowly eating away at the hit points. Time is definitely on NightEnd's side with that Disease Cloud, able to just make those units low on hit points. Beautiful Staff of Sanctuary saving multiple mortar teams again. There is a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability trying to finish off some of these units, and more damage getting racked on in. One Banshee getting taken down. Both sides fighting their way through. There goes some more damage here, as we see NightEnd and not even fighting with a full deck or a full army, able to put in pressure and having a massive supply lead. 88 compared to 69 at this point end stage, as the black arrows are now churning out level 2 dark minions. All right, plenty of Knights here off on the side here, just trying to sit back. I guess they're trying to make an even fight, so to speak, as damage is still racking up here. A couple more Banshees getting taken out. All right. Only fighting or only mining off of 3 gold here. Another big thunderclap coming across. More units trying to engage off on the side. Knights trying to dive on in. They do have additional upgrades or additional hit point upgrades, but not the attack upgrades. But that is so many Knights by NightEnD. All right, are we going to see more damage getting racked up here? Plenty of guard towers. Experience may not be given. A thunderclap, however, does give that necessary experience as the Mountain King and Paladin are trying to finish off more units. Are they going to get to level 4 and eventually just level up more? 74 supply compared to 77. So much damage across the board here. We're looking at the mortar teams trying to finish off these towers here. And by finishing off these towers or finishing off this haunted gold mine, perhaps can set up a gold mine themselves. All right, Sorceress is here as well. They're looking at the mortar team doing a little bit of lobbying attacks. Is that meat wagon going to get taken out? Only 46 hit points. 1 or 2 shots from that Archmage should be enough to finish it off, as it is now getting repaired back up instead. Gold mine, no longer mining. We are now 1 base versus 1 base, as Inspired has lost this gold mine here and only has about 7 or 8 minutes left of mining off to the north. Meanwhile, NightEnd's, this fortified position very well defended by Inspired. Not quite sure why NightEnd needs to fight this all off, but running head on into all of these towers cannot be a good proposition, as the Paladin and Mountain King are now both sitting at level 4. Both sides diving on in again here. There's a big thunderclap. More damage coming back across. The mortar team's able to lob in plenty of attacks. The Lich has not been able to get the Frost Novas down onto that backside here, as the Paladin could be in trouble. He gets Staff of Sanctuary back home, but that does mean no more burst heals, as the Goblin Zeppelin picks up that Mountain King here. Are the mortar teams going to be able to lob attacks against the Nerubian towers? I believe that distance is just a little bit too far. Could perhaps try and attack the ground, but not going to be enough overall. Mountain King back here. Are we going to use a Scroll of Regeneration? Yes, we are. Plenty of flares being lobbed over all across the map. 7 minutes of mining left here on Autumn Leaves 2.0. This still has 10 minutes of mining, as the units are just trying to get in position, slowly inching forward with level 3 masonry upgraded towers. Mountain King could try and storm bolt a Lich, perhaps catch it off guard, but the Death Knight would easily just get a Death Coil off, and a Banshee easily get that anti-magic shell to give it enough protection. All right, one tower knows absolutely what hit him. A couple of mortar team shards taking down that Nerubian tower in pretty much a New York minute. Oh, New York second. It's New York second, right? Anyways. Coming back through, Mountain King. Potion of Healing wants to try and dive in, and this is one of those situations where the mechanical meat wagon is better. You can't storm bolt the meat wagon, even though at the same time we're looking at more damage coming back on through. Mountain King could try in the thunderclap. Mortar team does get taken down at 61 supply compared to 74. The Mountain King is going to be able to try and dive on in here and get in the position against the Death Knight. Death Knight forced to use a Scroll of Town Portal, and now the Necropolis is just going to end up repositioning all of those units again. Mountain King wasted mana on a thunderclap while the Death Knight was under the protection of the Scroll of Town Portal's invulnerability. And now we're looking at, multiple mortar teams just lobbing attacks again. All right, in comes ghouls. All right, there goes a big Frost Nova. There's a Holy Light right there. Units are trying to figure their way out. Mountain King, does it have enough mana for a Thunderclap? Yes, it does, and that's going to be a bunch of low hit point ghouls suddenly, as all of those ghouls are just absolutely cleaned up there. That level 2 Thunderclap against a massive number of ghouls, followed by some, AoE damage from that mortar team. More than enough to clean things up there. All right. Water Elemental now taken down here. Mortar teams, seemingly zoning out all of these units. Again, 53 supply compared to 78, as I believe Inspired wants to try to set up an expo here, knowing that off to the north there's not going to be much gold. Even long distance mining may be better. We are looking at 8 minutes of mining left by NightEnD on the bottom right. Heroes levels are now about the same, 544 compared to 544, but the Lich is on that cusp of level 5. Level 3 Frost Nova will make it much more difficult for Deathcoil Frost or the Staff of Sanctuaries to try and save all of these low hit point mortar teams in the back. Archmage continually dropping in more water elementals here, perhaps using Staff of Sanctuary to save up some of these mortar teams could work out well. How much gold left in that gold mine? Yep, gold left 5,300, so about 9 minutes of mining in this gold mine. I mean, it's very well protected by towers, but just positioned in the wrong spot, so to speak, protecting the back. There's that Deathcoil Frost Nova, but still, Lich 3 experience shy away from level 5. This is that crucial point as the mortar teams are saying, why are we in the front line? Put us in the back and we'll be okay. All right, mortar team's going to hide in the back. More militia made their way over. Guard tower is going to get, added in as well, trying to remove that blight. There goes another low hit point unit. Anti-magic shell Lich, very well protected. Mountain King gets in a thunderclap, trying to slow down some of these units. Perhaps going to take down some of those banshees. There goes multiple banshees with those lobbing attacks again. Mountain King could be in a little bit of trouble trying to dance around. Does have some potions of healing as well, as we're looking at Deathcoil Frost Nova finishing off a knight there. Flying Machine overhead, keeping track of the position of the Undead army. I mean, if you look at NightEnd's view, he doesn't see what's going around these corners. So it's because we're playing in third-person view and we have a perfect sight on what's happening on both sides, especially with this Flying Machine here. Inspired is just playing with more information. Coming back through, there's it. Oh, beautifully done by Inspired there. Deathcoil Frost Nova still saving that mortar team. And, well, a bit of mana wasted. 73 supply compared to 49. We are looking at the sped-built Town Hall here, trying to keep it going. And then once this Town Hall is done, perhaps we will get these Scout Towers actually upgraded into something useful besides just providing a little bit of Arcane or True Sight here. All right, massive repairs underway, and I think all Inspired is thinking of doing is waiting out these 6 minutes and outlasting his opponent. That little bit of additional gold means that he can build up a bank and then, well, try and trade efficiently. He's got guard towers galore across the map. It's going to be difficult to try and take any of those spots whatsoever. And with that, he should be able to build up a large enough army. NightEnD, on the other hand, purposely staying in no upkeep. 49 over 100 and getting, well, now goes into low upkeep. He was trying to stay in low upkeep, getting every bit of gold out of that gold mine into his bank, and then perhaps was going to try and do a bit of pressure while avoiding all of those taxes. It was for a while 10 gold a second versus 14. Now it is 7 gold a second versus 14. A drastic difference there. This is recent. NightEnD maybe just playing for fun. When we see players play, it's often not competitive. I don't believe this was from a tournament. There's a Deathcoil Frost Nova finding a mortar team right there. That's gotta be scary, right? You're standing like, stay in formation. The mortars are like, okay, I'm gonna do that. You see one mortar team just get absolutely blasted standing next to you. You feel the death chill from that Frost Nova as well, and the Paladin just holy lights you and says, stay in formation. Yeah, that's gotta be tough. All right, gold mine off to the north has been cleaned up. All of these peasants are no longer needed. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. Freeing up supply to perhaps add in additional units again. Oh, well. Never say never on the internet. 78 supply now compared to 74. NightEnD was able to rebuild a large army comparable in size. Is he going to try and push into this spot again? Lich and the Death Knight are just looking for well, any unit to get out of line. And literally, if there's a unit that is just out of line, out of the right spot, a Death Coil Frost Nova would end up finishing it. NightEnD does have some destroyers in the air, and he is absorbing mana off of some of the Banshees and some of these other units as well. So we're looking at 86 over 100 supply. This is going to be a massive army ready to go in for a very large push here. And, well, with the destroyers, with actual mana, they may be able to take down flying machines as their splash damage is going to be big. Are we going to see some Devour Magic there? Well, yeah, just Devour Magic, heal up a little bit more, and in comes the Destroyer's anti-magic shell of NightEnD. Stormbolt doesn't do any damage against the Death Knight. Death Knight having that anti-magic shell, but still stunned as the flying machines, well, trying to get in position against all of these destroyers. All right, massive battle here. How is this all going to unfold? Making its way back off to the north again. NightEnD does have some mana in those destroyers. He wants to attack and engage, but those destroyers are quickly losing mana as they have negative mana regeneration. Both sides fighting their way through, and here comes that engagement. The destroyers are coming across. Plenty of anti-magic shell as the destroyers are able to finish off those flying machines there and perhaps take down some of those knights. Staff of Teleportation, Paladin gets saved at the last moment. The destroyers are actually in a little bit of trouble, but have finished off all the flying machines and can now switch their targets onto the knights here. The knights do not want to stand next, or can no longer engage against the Crypt Fiends as both sides are fighting their way through. Death Knight is at level 6, hasn't chosen a level 6 ability yet as the destroyers could continue to finish off some of those mortar teams again. 72 supply compared to 69. Mountain King trying to hide in the back, webbing down a couple of those flying machines again as Unholy Aura level 3 online to provide a bit more passive healing. Abomination kind of stuck in the backfield there. Mountain King able to back away, no more mana, and the Lich out of position to finish off that low hit point Mountain King. Level 6, level 4, level 4 going up against 655. Mountain King buys a potion of healing, going to rejoin back in on the battlefield here as the low hit point destroyers are having a little bit of a difficult time. Lich needs to find a way to back up. He's in that front line spot. Can he get storm bolted? He needs to find a way to get back, and he's able to do exactly that as the Obsidian statue is still providing a bit of cover. Still too many towers. 48 supply compared to 65 as the Crypt Fiends are now making their way in. Frost Nova finding the Mountain King. Slow walk away. Mountain King falls at level 4. Lich now getting closer to level 6, which does open up Death and Decay. Dark Ritual could be a deal as well. And once you have Death and Decay out on the field, well, undead buildings just melt away in a moment. Archmage trying to continue with that pressure here. Death Knight in the back still has plenty of death coils as we see the Arcane Vault now getting taken down. All right, tower after tower of Inspired could end up being lost. Lich still 100 experience, or about 99 experience shy from that there. Thank you for the follow. Bunch of Staff of Sanctuaries, 51 supply compared to 72, and it looks as though NightEnD currently, with the larger army, but Inspired still mining gold out of this gold mine, could build back up. Yeah, wish I had. Well, a follow only to get an advertisement. No, thank you. Coming back around, more damage adding in again. Destroyer is able to finish off one of those arcane towers again. There's a Thunderclap, Holy Light. So to turnabout, fair play, Stormbolt, Thunderclap, Holy Light to finish off a Crypt Fiend. NightEnD knowing what it feels like to have his units getting burst down by enemy heroes. Archmage does have Mass Teleport, but is there going to be an opportunity to use Mass Teleport? That is the follow-up question. Destroyers have 3-1 upgrades with True Shot Aura. Going to try and go after these here. There's a Stormbolt. Crypt Fiend quickly gets bolted down again. And if the Mountain King and Paladin can both get to level 5, well, that would greatly change things. Level 3 Stormbolt, level 3 Holy Light on the table, suddenly turning things around. Gonna try and get a Death Coil off right there. A little bit of a delay. That Crypt Fiend was on full hit points, would not get burst down at all. All right. tanks are fortified armor, but I don't believe we've seen any more siege engines brought out by Inspired. All right. NightEnD has unsummoned a couple of key buildings, now currently sitting at 63 over 60 supply. Unsummoning those buildings to try and train up a little bit more units, get a little bit of additional gold, and now perhaps trying to dive in after these towers here. All right, Stormbolt onto the Lich. Lich is still sitting at level 5 here. Are we going to see some Frost Novas against all of these peasants? There we are. There they go. As the Destroyers are looking to finish off more and more of these guard towers. More fragmentation shards. Lich down to 400 hit points. Death Coil going to go ahead and be there in time. There's a Thunderclap there. Anti-Magic Shell to follow it up. Trying to bait the Lich King, or Lich, and now the Mountain King now needs to get teleported back. Without that Stormbolt, perhaps the Lich is going to be able to just continue to attack and get in more damage. Perhaps actually get up to level. Only 46 experience shy, still trying to go after these guard towers here. All right, Obsidian statues, all of them are low on mana except for one in the very far back. Are we going to look at more towers continually taken down as the Death Knight still tries to test the waters here? Lich, are we going to see some little bit more damage? There's a Holy Light onto that Crypt Fiend. Crypt Fiend still looking absolutely fine. Flying machines now back out on the battlefield here, and without mana on these destroyers, without the AoE damage on those destroyers, the flying machines should, with their fragmentation shards, be able to take down those destroyers. All right, a couple of obsidian statues down on the ground here. Flying machines quickly needing to back away. Are we going to see some damage here added in? Overall, Death Coil, Potion of Lesser Invulnerability, but still down to 279 hit points. Going to test the waters again, try to burst down to that guard tower. Is it going to be able to take it down? Yes, it does. No level up, though. Dark Ranger still at 5. Lich is still sitting at 5 here, as the Lich now 30 experience shy from level 6. Mountain King now ready to join in on the battle. Gold Mine is lost as well. Every single bit of gold on the Autumn Leaves 2.0 has been mined out, as the Crypt Fiends with Web able to pick off one of those flying machines. It feels like I've been talking about that Lich getting to level 6 forever. Now 3 experience shy, and ready to make his way off to the north. That Lich does have plus 13 attack, decent amount of hit points. These guard towers here could have some problems. Are we going to look at, well, Death Coil, Frost Nova, there's level 6 on the Lich, and now the Mountain King, the main Stormbolt, to be able to stop that Lich. Lich's ultimate ability there. Now, the Paladin was bursted down. We've lost a 400 hit point burst heal, and will... Well, in comes Staff of Teleportation. All right, without the Archmage there, the Mountain King is going to try to challenge here. Lich gets Stormbolted. Archmage is now back out on the other side here, as all this Town Hall can really do is... just harvest lumber now. It looks like NightEnD is just going to slowly push his way back in. 61 over 60 supply, taking down building slowly but surely. And even the Lich's, Death and Decay right there. Yeah, going to take down all of these buildings. Remember, it is a percentage-based attack. It doesn't look like it's doing a lot right now, but that's because these guard towers don't have that many hit points. If you cast it on the castle or the main base off over here, you will see this castle taking pretty much the same amount of damage as well as percentage of damage per second, as all of these cannon towers could get taken down. All right, one more final shot. That's going to get taken down here, as we now see the Destroyers trying to finish things off once more, trying to take these all down. Death Knight is going to be able to Death Coil, perhaps heal up a low hit point Destroyer down to 89 hit points, and will end up backing away. Death Knight, come on, 600 hit point heal. Don't make me a liar. 52 supply compared to 61. NightEnD with nearly 50% army size difference. Mass Teleport, however, by Inspired, gonna try and trade bases. There are a lot of buildings for Inspired, but then again, NightEnD does have that Death and Decay, which does have a fairly large cooldown. that larger cooldown could be a problem as the Mountain King gets to level 5 here by clearing out the green creep camp next to his base. Paladin also resurrected as well, so this game is still anyone's to take, but the Dark Ranger now at level 6 does have Charm. That Charm ability to just constantly take your opponent's units over time should be enough, and that is why Inspired is just trying to move around the map as much as he is. He doesn't want to go head-to-head with this Undead army who would be able to just constantly take knights and spellbreakers away fairly easily. With that said, then, it is NightEnd's game to take with more ultimate abilities, as a couple more arcane vaults will end up getting taken down. Alright, Shades are all positioned, but well, with so many guard towers that can actually spot them, not quite sure what's going to happen here. Paladin sitting at level 4, Mantle of Intelligence given to the Paladin, a little bit of additional mana again. Alright, Anti-Magic Shell. Lich, does it have enough for Death and Decay here? It could. And then just trying to finish off these buildings could give level... Yep, there you are. There you go. Taking down all of these towers here, while only having to worry about the Lich. Lich has Unholy Aura and Obsidian Statues providing a bit of healing. All of these towers are going to end up getting taken out here in just a second. The Town Hall... well, not in range of it, but still, well, building after building after building falling. Coming back around, Fly Machines do not have the Bombard upgrade, and it is not being researched. Not enough gold for the Bombard upgrade, and without that, well, those Fly Machines are only there to cancel out the Destroyers. Plenty of Banshees here, 51 supply compared to 61. And this is one of those questions. Should the Lich have gone after the fortified buildings to try and take them down and allow the army to take down the guard towers, or vice versa? Let me know in your comments below. Thank you for the cheer as the Paladin now and the Knights looking to take down this crypt here. All right, in comes a mass teleport. Are we going to see a possession? Oh! Paladin left behind here. Are we going to see a charm? The Dark Ranger gets the charm on the Knight and catches the Paladin out in the middle of the battlefield. Paladin trying to desperately run all the way back home. The mass teleport does leave 2 people behind. One Knight turns colors, and the Paladin could end up getting taken down. All right, there's that Knight right there. We're going to see, well, that Paladin get taken out here. Death Coil, Frost Nova, she's trying to break free, silence. There's level 7 on the Death Knight. It looks like NightEnd is in control of this game with the loss of the level 5 Paladin. That is a huge, huge setback. And, well, if you thought... Well, in comes the Knight. If you thought cooldowns were bad, Dark Ranger can already take another unit. It is an extremely fast cooldown as the Dark Ranger has her eyes set on, well, some more units, perhaps another Knight. Yeah, it feels like GG is going to be around the corner. NightEnd can just continually grab another Knight here. There's that another charm once more. And it is just adding up more and more. Coming back down on the bottom right side here, Archmage looking to finish off a couple of buildings, but with only a 32 supply army, 2 heroes, it's not going to be enough. Coming back through, Obsidian Statues slowly regenerating their mana as the game does go long. 69 supply over 50. That charm and making such a big difference. As we see an inbound scroll or staff of teleportation, are we going to see some more charms here? That is the question here. Mountain King trying to go after all the Banshees. The Banshees all protect themselves with anti-magic shell, and now going to get staff of sanctuary and saved again. Where is the Dark Ranger? Dark Ranger units are trying to all split apart every which way as the Town Hall going to end up getting taken out. Meanwhile, are we really going to see we could see some towers being built off to the side. There is a possession or a charm off of the castle here. The Lich could easily death and decay all of these towers here as the Archmage is trying to retreat all the way to the back. That Knight trying to get those last couple of attacks here. Mountain King going to be in trouble. Mountain King, is the Knight going to actually get the last hit on that Archmage? No, he gets taken down. Staff of Sanctuary ends up finishing off the Knight here. Dark Ranger going, and that is going to be the game. Night Elf or NightEnD, the Undead, able to outlast Inspired. Inspired, even if he started to build guard towers in the corners of the map, there were plenty of destroyers there anyways. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.